Hey Internet, Harris here, and if you've ever tried to run or lift or do any type of workout while listening to music, you know both how powerful the music can be when you're on a long run by yourself or in the gym for hours or whatever the circumstance may be, but you also know how terrible and tedious and awkward that can be trying to listen to music without bothering other people. And while I don't think it was Apple's direct goal, they've basically solved that issue. Not without cost, but they've basically done it. So of course I'm talking about the AirPods and the Apple Watch, in particular the Cellular Apple Watch. So let me explain exactly what this experience is like. Okay, so actually a kind of funny and sad story. If you follow me on Twitter, you saw this already, but last week I was walking down a hill on campus and I wiped out twice on the ice. And I happened to be wearing my Beats, which I haven't worn in months, but I just decided to be wearing my Beats that day. Several hours later, I came back. It's around midnight. I can't find my AirPods. I retraced my steps. The last time I had it was a few minutes before walking down the hill. I realized that they fell out of my pocket, that the whole case fell out of my pocket when I wiped out. At around 12:30 in the morning, I walked out there, slushy, sleeting, raining, 30 degrees, but then I realized that the whole section had been bulldozed. So rest in peace, first pair of AirPods. Good thing they had more in my bookstore. So we're back in business. Okay, so here is the combination. I have an Apple Watch Series 4 with cellular, and these are the AirPods. This system works with any of the Apple Watches, but in particular it works with the ones that support cellular, because that's going to allow a lot more capabilities, a lot more features with this. And the first thing to mention is that this is certainly not a cheap combination. If I do the math correctly, it's like $470 or something for this Apple Watch. Correction, that's actually $529. With cellular, you can get it cheaper without cellular. Plus $10 a month for the data, so for a year that's $120, plus Apple Music, which is like $8 a month, so that's like $96 a year, and plus the AirPods, which is $159. This is an $845-ish combination for the Apple Watch and the AirPods, and Apple Music and data. That's really expensive. Okay, so what do you get with that experience? So, of course, you get the AirPods, which don't have any wires, they don't have any distractions. You just put them in and they connect with your devices. And that's great because when you're running, when you're working out, you don't want wires, so you don't have to be dependent on your phone to yank them out when you're getting up or down. You don't have to have this in your pocket. You can have it wherever, and you're listening to music, you're listening to a podcast, whatever, and you're not bogged down by wires, and that's great. You still have your controls for changing the tracks and stuff like that. When you pair it with your Apple Watch, the phone can be out of the equation altogether. You can actually download music to your Apple Watch through a playlist that you select in your settings, so you can have music downloaded onto here that play to here. No matter what Apple Watch you have, no matter where you are, you can always do that. But what is awesome about the cellular Apple Watch is that when I am on runs, I can pull up any song I want, any podcast I want, and I can just play it on demand. I can make phone calls while I'm on runs, so I can respond to text. Those aren't exactly essential features, but it's a great security feature to have my phone dialer on the watch, and I can pull up maps and things like that when I'm running. So every time I get lost in New York City when I'm visiting my sister, I always end up using this Apple Watch to get me back. Is it perfect? No. If you're playing something that isn't in your library, so that means you can't just scroll through and find it in your library, you're going to have to rely on Siri. Most of the time it works. You tell her to play something, she'll play it. But sometimes if you want something really specific, she won't be able to understand what you're asking for, a specific podcast or an episode. You're going to really struggle finding that. And additionally, sometimes you'll tell her to play something, she'll say 1 second, and then just never really do something. It's really frustrating when that happens because you're paying so much money for these services, for Apple Music, for the AirPods, for the watch, for the data subscription. To have Siri not work sometimes is incredibly frustrating. But when she does work, it's an awesome feature to have, and it makes it seem worthwhile. So I love this tool because I listen to podcasts all the time on my runs. I've listened to some audiobooks and tons of music on command. You can choose it from your watch, and you don't have to be dependent on your phone, which is just so cool. It is super expensive and certainly not perfect, but this technology just didn't exist years ago. Totally wireless when you're running or working out or whatever. no wires, no phone, you're still listening to music, and with a cellular one, you can have complete control. Yes, Siri still does need to be improved. Apple needs to make Siri a little bit better on the Apple Watch. Too many times I've asked her to do something and she just didn't do anything. And then the pricing, ooh, it'd be great if it was going to go down, but you better believe it is not going down. And if anything, it's likely to go up, especially with Gen 2 of the AirPods. Now, a huge pro tip. So you've already spent all this money, so you don't mind spending another $10. An awesome accessory, and this isn't sponsored, I've been using for years, like these little rubber ear tips to put over the AirPods, so that when they go in your ear, they lock in. They're not going anywhere. This silicone and this ear fin just completely locks it in there, and there's basically no chance of it falling out. Now, your AirPods may fit in totally fine and never fall out. That's how it is for my left ear, but for some reason for my right ear, this will get kind of dislodged, especially if it's a windy day, or if I'm going at like a really fast pace and I'm running or something like that. This is likely to come loose or just not be super secure. So that's why I absolutely love these. They guarantee that it'll never fall out. The only issue is that you have to take them on and off each time, at least for the ones I have, because they don't fit in here, but it's a really small thing. But even more recently, I got a pair that had a little bit of a funnel at the end, a tip, that lodges it a little bit deeper into your ear, and yes, that's kind of gross, but at the same time, it works wonders. So you know how when you have headphones in, and you kind of just push them in a little bit more, the sound is just a lot more isolated, sounds a lot better and cleaner. That's basically what these do. So not only are they locking them in your ear and isolating a little bit of a sound just because of that rubber isolation, but it also just channels the sound a little bit better to you. It sounds better, like a little bit more bass, a little bit fuller sound. I highly recommend these if you are wearing your AirPods for anything athletic, any type of movement. These will ensure they never fall out. So security and safety, you're not going to lose them, but they also increase the sound quality. And if you're using this on a plane or something, it'll help isolate the sound a little bit better. Again, not a sponsor, but I use these every single time I run, and they're basically perfect. Alright, that's a lot of talking. Anyway, let me know what you think of this combination. Yes, it is stupid expensive, but yes, it is stupid awesome. I mean, I love it, and I love these little ear tips. I've run hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles with this combination, and for a runner or a lifter or whatever it may be, it's kind of a beautiful combination. Let me know what you think of this combo down below. Do you have it? Do you want it? Should I do a giveaway of it one of these days? And I'll leave a link to everything I mentioned down in the description. If you buy any of these things using my links, I'll get a small % back, so you'll help the channel to make more videos like this. I'm excited to have made a running video. I'm going to keep doing that. Mark my words. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.